Wonderful. So here we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and welcome to another conversation in Love Speaks. And again, today we have Beverly and Claudia with me, which has been really lovely to have our three energies together in conversation. And today we're just going to carry on from our last one, which was around the shadow and shadow work. And we're going to talk today around the subject of spiritual bypassing. And honestly, I think for myself, I've seen this happening so much over the years with, in many different realms as well. I see it in Christianity even. The religion spaces, really, I suppose. So it's a way of hiding behind spirituality and spiritual practices, as we know. So away we go, ladies.
This is a juicy subject, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I think it could push buttons for people too, in the sense of
100%.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when I'd not first started, but had been into my journey of healing the deep wounding and the shadow aspects of me, and going to, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was some a spiritual event, and my friend next to me goes, "Oh God, the Purple Brigade's arrived." It's like and it's sort of, it was like this whole, they were the ones that were doing the spiritual bypassing. We're all dressed up in the clothes and we're off, but really it was about being in the energy. Not that I don't mind being in the energy, I love being in the energy, but I also know about having to deal with my own stuff that I keep holding in my cells.
And I think it's like, for me sitting here right now, I feel like it feels like judgment. Do you know what I mean? Like judging those who are doing this, but actually it's a thing. And until we really deepen into the healing space within self, we are bypassing. We're just putting on this persona of, oh, it's all okay, when actually inside there's screaming and there's torture and there's terror and all these things that might be going on that we just sort of maybe blindfolding to, or just parking up over here somewhere and pretending everything's all good. And that's not healthy. So it's not so much about judging it, it's really just a conversation. So but it is a bit of a tender one, I feel, to be honest.
I think language sometimes can be inadequate. Like, we use labels, because Juliet and I talk about this all the time, where we're talking about something and you use a label that everybody uses to talk about that thing, and it comes across as judgy because you're using the widely perceived name for that group or that person or those things, whatever it is, and it because of political correctness or whatever, the language comes across as though where the judgment is coming out of us, and it's not. It's just where I think we're at a stage in our development as humanity where we're trying to find ways of expressing ourselves that doesn't come across as being, a judgment of that group of people. And it's delicate, isn't it? It's a delicate thing. And I think in a way, political correctness is spiritual bypassing. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you can't get down to the nitty gritty of something and actually call a spade because you're afraid of people being offended.
Exactly.
And I shared a meme this week on Facebook that said that when you're offended when you take offense to something, essentially what you're telling the universe is that you can't control your own feelings and you expect everybody else to control that for you. And I thought that was really interesting, because that's how I see it. I mean, I still get offended by stuff, but that's when the work needs to be done, isn't it? That's when you need to say, okay, is this coming from me?
Yep.
Is this something that's triggering me because of a shadow or because of something that's deep down inside me that's, you know, that needs to be looked at? Or is it somebody's behavior that is just being ridiculous and being nasty or whatever?
Yeah.
So yeah, I
sometimes
think
you need to be able to put a boundary up.
You
Yes.
do. Yes.
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
I mean, my daughter said to me once that, you know, we've got to teach people how to treat us, Mum.
yeah,
You know, I was allowing stuff and getting annoyed, thinking that I was, you know, I had boundaries in place, but they actually weren't. And she said that, and I thought, oh my God, actually, yes, you know, it's
because as
definitely
women, we're scared that people are not going to like us because we're putting our boundaries up and we're being firm, and we're, you know, so many women are called bitches because they do that, because they're, you know, because they know themselves and they know their limits and they say no to things. No, that's not okay. I won't be treated like that. And so, you know, particularly as women, I think we're scared of that, like, because we're not raised. We're raised to please everybody and be nice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and that's a form of spiritual bypassing too, because you're not putting your own need, like you're not taking care of your own needs. You're just saying yes, 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 because you want to be liked, because out there is scary. When inside, internally, we're screaming at ourselves saying, please say no. I don't want to do that. Please don't make me go there or see that person or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we also make a commitment to something and then we don't know how to then backpedal and go, actually, I can't do that. You know, sometimes there's that, well, for me anyway, it's like if I commit to doing something, I'm going to go do it. Doesn't matter what I have to push through.
Yeah.
But learning to go, actually, I want to rearrange my commitment or renegotiate it and, you know, find another way of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're definitely people pleasers, I think, a lot of women. And girls, basically, young girls are brought up to do that. Really, we're taught to serve men, really, and to you know, I know I was all about, I just want people to love me, you know. So if I'm a good girl, there's that if I'm a good girl thing, then and be nice to everyone and do it all, you know, like don't say no, then they'll love me.
Yeah, 100%.
I
so resonate with what you're saying right now, because in my family growing up, the gooder you were, the more love you got.
Yeah.
And the more pats on the back and the more acknowledgement and the more attention that you got. So striving for perfection, striving to be good, all of that stuff, you know, if you wanted attention and you wanted to be loved, that's the road you took. And it took me a long time. Like even now I struggle with it. It took me a long time to realize that tap dancing for somebody is a never ending game.
Yes.
And you're just going to come to a point where you can't dance anymore. And then you have to face what happens when you've tired out and you can't dance anymore. You've got to face it.
Yeah.
And deal with it, because the energy runs out.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Excuse me.
And you know, when we deal with our shadow, when we deal with, don't bypass what's going on, the more energy that we can have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Changes the whole energetic frequency in you, which then you're not depleting. Like, you know, you're just tired all the time when you're running that sort of those sorts of programs, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to shove it all down and away all the time. It just takes all your energy to push it down continually and not, you know, overreact to stuff, even though you can sometimes. But mostly we're just trying to hold on, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hold on. They'll go away soon. You know, you just wait patiently and it'll change. But the feeling within stays. Hard.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for women like us to not figure it out, but to openly, like what we're doing today, it's openly talking about it, so that our next generation of girls come through, see the bravery, see the fact that, oh, my mum's saying no. It's possible to say no. It's possible to put yourself first. And to flex that muscle, even though that sometimes it's like painful and it's scary to do, that it's really important that it's done, that we do it, and that we show ourselves that respect, because if we aren't respecting ourselves in that way, we're just teaching everybody else that we're the doormat. You know, we can wipe our feet on Claudia because she lets us do it.
Yes. Yeah, gosh, I was good at that. I was good at letting everyone wipe their feet on me. Yeah, and it's not fun, you know. You get so annoyed and frustrated with yourself, and really bash yourself up about it. So you know, you're adding all this other stuff to it, which is just hideous, really, when you go back over it. And I used to think how much of a martyr I was, you know, just allowing. It was like my voice had no meaning. Nobody heard it, even if I did say no often. It was like nobody bothered, because I don't usually say it. So it was like I never said it at all, you know. I didn't hear that. Yeah.
Which doesn't really mean it anyway.
No, that's the thing. That's what everyone thought.
Yeah, or that we can go the other side too, which has been my experience, where I've gotten so overwhelmed with the situation because I wasn't taking care of myself. And then I get to a point where I snap, and it's not tactful, and it's not in a way that's looking after myself and the other person, so that, you know, I haven't caught it in time. I've gotten to that point where the energy is all depleted and I can't put my energy into explaining it or being nice, or not nice, but like being tactful in a way that doesn't push the other person away. It's like, well, actually, no, I can't do that, you know, and that's enough. No, I'm kind of going, rah, get away from me. And then you lose friends over it, or people think, oh, she's a bit scary, or, you know. So it's like finding that balance between being too nice and being a doormat, or being a scary ogre.
Yes. And that's that programming of not having the reaction, because it's the reactive to it that you and if we just can take a breath and think about how to respond differently, really, but we're usually just straight into the reactive until we've done a bit of the internal stuff and cleared out some of it, at least. Because, man, there's just no responding at all. It's just all reactive. I know that was me. I used to ping off everything all the time.
Yeah.
I think
it's human nature, isn't it?
Unless you do the work, you don't even realise how much you're stuffing down. So for me, with stuffing it all in, suddenly the fuse would blow, and it would be sometimes the most inappropriate times. I remember before I started this work, I remember clearing 2 netball courts full of players and and the spectators, because I lost my temper with one of the girls. Because I had been stuffing everything inside me. I'm sorry, she just triggered me in that last moment, until all of this explosion that was sitting inside me just came out and erupted everywhere. So, you know, I
would have loved to be a fly on the wall for that one.
Me too, is what I said too. But you know, that what it does, I've had moments like that myself, and you feel ashamed. Like there's this that comes over, isn't it? That you just feel so ashamed of yourself and think, oh my God, why did I do that?
I was too scared to go back into the pavilion after that. You know, I just stayed outside, gathered my girls and went home. It was like, Yep, that was a bit out of order.
Yeah, but I bet all the energy came out and you were like, you know, you were balanced after that. It was like, I got it out of myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is interesting that most of my reactions was when someone was picking on somebody else. So
Yeah.
I'd come in to defend someone. So that's what I was doing. I was actually defending someone, but it was all my own stuff that
Yeah.
was held in my body that I hadn't been able to express
Yeah.
to anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that's how it can manifest out in real life, is that when you've been repressed or you've been bullied or whatever it is, somebody's like using you as a doormat, and you can't you don't have the wherewithal or the energy or the thought processes to defend yourself. You know, it's not something that you can do for yourself, but when you see it happening to somebody else, it triggers that, you know,
Does.
that, oh, I can't stand watching this go on in front of me. And that's when you rise up and, you know, and
Yeah.
lash out when you see somebody else in your shoes.
Yes.
It's way easier
For
to
sure.
defend someone else than to defend myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me too. High school in particular, I was always defending those who were being bullied by the teachers.
Yep.
And yeah, I'd stand up and voice then. I was always in detention or at the principal's office. But yeah, I couldn't stand it. I never liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
And I'm
doing-
seeing something similar happening to Juliet at the moment. She's, for all of you watching who don't know who Juliet is, she's my eldest daughter. And yeah, so I'm seeing something similar happening with her, and I'm trying so hard not to get involved and to let her deal with it in the way she sees fit. But it's difficult, and some of it's spilling on out to me as well. And I can see the behavior going on, and it's just, you know, it's like, Claudia, stay out of it.
It's hard.
Let her fight her own battles, you know. But when it does happen and it comes onto me, then I find, like, now I'm older and I see things a little bit differently. I do find it difficult to, you know, to navigate and say things in a way that are meaningful without attacking the person.
Yeah.
You know, without attacking, because it's really difficult when somebody's in your face and they're triggering you and all this stuff is coming up, not to judge the person themselves as being bad or as being, you know, it's the words that they're using, it's the trigger in them, it's the trauma in them, there's something in them that's coming out, the shadow in them that's coming out, and that's not the person themselves, you know. And so,
no, that's right.
Yeah, it's really hard to remember that in the moment. And so I think it's important, like what we're saying is to respond, it's to get the situation before it gets to that point. You know, it's to deal with it before it gets there, and to address things when you're calm and have the wherewithal and the ability to address the behavior rather than the person themselves. Yeah.
And to actually address it and not just let it slide by.
Exactly. Yeah. And I find, you know, there's still days and there are still moments when I can be triggered like that, but I find now I'm in more of a neutral space, and I see it more from that space of observer rather than in it. And it's lovely. It's lovely when it's like that. But there are moments, and it is particularly with my kids, when they're being what I feel might be bullied, or, you know, there's inappropriate stuff going on. It's very, very difficult not to stick your little beak in and let them get on with it. I have interfered before. And it's made it worse, really. So I learned that you just leave it alone.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. So yes, but the the advantage of taking the time to just really sit with your emotions and to really feel into them. I mean, that's the intelligence of our body, really. It's our body's intelligence. And to allow that shadow to show itself and be really honest with self when it does show up. Because I know when there's been some deep work done with myself and really being honest and seeing and allowing to see what my shadow was doing and how it was playing out, when at that point in time, and years ago, when I was in the blame game and it was all about them and I'm working on the issue that they were creating.
Yeah.
And then, oh, hello. It's actually all about me. And oh my goodness, those times. I mean, I've sat in days where I've just been shut the world out because I was so ashamed, and I had to really deeply process in those days of shutting everything out to actually go through what I saw myself as when the blindfold was taken away. And holy moly, it's a big awakening. It really is. But if you can just sit in it and be really honest and feel it and actually acknowledge it, it does dissipate. It moves on.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
really
that's
own
great advice. Really, really good
owning what
advice.
your role in it is.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think we ended last time with, what our part is, and I always am in the victim. And when I could finally own that victim, and especially in my marriage, blame, 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 victim, 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 that once I actually could shift that, my ex actually apologised to me.
Yes.
Whereas before he never would say, he wouldn't own any part of what was going on. I was just pointing the finger at him. But once I could really own that I was poking the finger at him and creating it, that, it just changed the whole energy.
And how
come into a place of friendship.
Yes. And how good was he holding the line, not budging off what he was up to for you to get it? That's what I love. It's like when you look at it and you see your part, and then you go, holy moly, this person's actually been an amazing teacher for me, a healer even sometimes, and pushing that to heal you. Then, you come back to that place of, oh my God, what they had to go through to do this too, as you end up blessing them. I mean, there's just such gratitude and love for them in the end of it, after we've been pointing all this venom.
You've gotten over the hump when you can do that. Like when you can look at a person that's been, teaching you, and you've been resisting, you haven't wanted to learn the lesson, and you've been blaming, and then all of a sudden that person, you see them for what it really is.
Yeah,
that's when okay, I've really gotten over the hump of it. Because it's like the scales are taking off your eyes and you can see clearly. The victim scales,
victim scales, yes.
Yeah.
That's a big awakening though, gosh.
Yeah.
That's so worth
there is lots of people that are awakening now to what's going on, and it's now that they really need the help to understand their own roles in things as well. And I feel like there's some of us that have been doing this work for a long time, so that we can hold a space for them to get through it in a much quicker way than what we did.
Yeah.
I think that's it's my truth anyway.
For someone like me, I've only been awake for a couple of years. So 2020 was when I started to really see things. The goggles came off and the other goggles went on. And I started to see things differently, and I started doing a lot of shadow work. So for me, having women like you in my life to help with that journey and to talk to about stuff like this has been a godsend, because I felt like I was waking up in quicksand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was asleep, and then when I woke up, I was in the quicksand, and I was like, shit, I've got to fucking figure this out pretty quickly, or I'm going to drown.
Yeah.
So to have women like you at the side of the quicksand chucking me the rope, pulling me out, it's been amazing. And I don't feel like I could have done it without that guidance.
Yeah, we do need assistance. It often is that way. It's a very sacred space that you go into, but it's also so deeply moving in so many different levels as well, that it's just lovely to have somebody who can hold that space for you and allow you to be in that, you know, and just honor you in it and hear you and acknowledge it. I think it's really important.
Yeah, the biggest gift for me was learning how to listen to that voice, you know, the higher voice.
Yeah.
Because there's so much noise going on, especially living in the city. We live in the city, and there's so much distraction. There's so much conditioning. There's so many programs. You know, there's work to go to. There's bills to pay. There's, you know, so much stuff. And when it's all wanting your attention. Yes. Everything is vying for your attention, and you're going, I've got to go do this, I've got to go do that, I've got to go here, I've got to do this for this person. You can't hear that voice. That voice is very, very in the background when that's going on. And so to clear out, you know, one thing at a time, learning how to do that, learning how to listen and just be still and be with myself and not be distracted, so that I can hear that, you know, the practices that I have that allow me to drown everything else out and concentrate on my higher self. That has been a huge gift. And that's what women like you have done for me, is to help me identify what voices to listen to and what to navigate around and get my priorities straight. You know, get my focus on the things, the guidance that I need to be able to walk the path in the way that suits me and is right for me. Yes. And that's been a massive learning curve and a massive gift. Beautiful. So you can only, once you walk the path, and then when the person comes behind you and they're going, oh, I'm lost, what am I doing? You know, you guys go, hey, we're over here, come and see us. Yeah, we've got some information for you. Yeah,
well, we can hold a space for you
to
find your own information.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, my whole thing is, I have someone that rang me yesterday who goes, can you see what's happening for me? And I'm like,
all right,
yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to hold a space so you can find it for yourself. Because when you find it for yourself, it's way more impactful than if somebody tells you a story, because they can make up any story.
Yeah. That's their filter. That story is coming through their filter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I want to hold a space for people to go inside their bodies, because that's where all of the information is held, within the cells of the body.
Yeah.
Imagine if we'd had that ability from birth.
I know.
Imagine.
Oh, yes.
I do imagine. Yeah. And that's the world we're moving into, isn't it? You know, more and more, that is how our children will be brought up, more and more in alignment with their inner being and their soul self and their soul speak.
Yes.
And that day is hopefully not going to be too long away. I know there's so many now. I mean, so many beautiful parents that are really sharing this world with their children now, and bringing them on board, or you know, a lot of the kids actually have come in to bring their parents on board, to be honest.
Yep.
They're the ones that are, you know, stepping the parents up to the plate.
Yeah, Juliet did some of that for me, definitely. I mean, she would come to me and ask questions about things that I was so left of field that I'd never thought about. And she was getting her higher self asking those questions, and then she would come and ask me. And I would be like, wow, you know, I don't know the answer to that. Like, maybe we should find out. And then she would come to me with more information that was challenging to my brain. And all of those things. And then my dad died. My dad passed away from motor neurone disease, and that set me on another path with her. It opened up a whole new world of spirituality and everything. So she really was a bit of a kind of, you know,
catalyst.
What's going on, Mum? And then I would go, oh yeah, what's going on? Like, let's ask some questions.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I'm very grateful for that, because I don't know, I probably would never have thought to ask those questions if it wasn't for her doing that.
Yeah, they're pretty switched on, these kids today, like I've been watching the generations, you know, coming in, and because I had 17 years between my two girls. My first daughter was birthed in with all my emotional caca, you know. And then my 17 years later, the second daughter came in, and she showed me the next wave of kids. Then my oldest daughter had my grandson. He showed me the next wave. And now my youngest daughter has just had her 2-year-old, is 2, and she's showing me the next wave, you know. So they're keeping me up to date with what these kids are up to and how they work in this world. And it's a beautiful thing. They're very, very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I know as a kid myself, if somebody had been able to guide me, you know, because I was the awake kid, I could see what this world was up to and what else was here with us, you know, moving through everything that we're doing in our day and all of that. There was so many different extremes on the physical realm, but also in the spirit realm for me, and nobody to speak to about that. You know, and I know today there's children, you know, I've gone to assist them in their home energetically, you know, working with the energy in the house and things that is disruptive in some way, or these children are often opening portals and letting all this stuff in, and, you know, that in their sleep state and stuff like that. And so a lot of the parents now are finding that these children are actually showing them, that's their guidance. They're guiding the parents into how to be with me here. And what I need here is you to step up so that you can understand what I need. And it's beautiful, because the parents that often get in touch with me are those parents that are willing to know and are open to learning exactly what these children need and what their requirements are. So it's a beautiful thing, but shifts again now. You know, I see these movements now, even in this world that's changing so rapidly before us over these last few years. And these children now, it's like there's another step in. And I was just saying the other day that our age bracket, really, the woman, and it is woman, I know there's grandfathers out there doing the same, but the grandmothers on the planet right now are really busy with their children, their parents who are passing, you know, that we've got all that realm there, the older ones that are leaving. And then there's these, you know, the younger mums are finding it very difficult with all the pressure of everything that's been going on. And there's this needing now to have the community back together, like drawing community to help raise these children. I mean, here in Whangarei, it's just the crime has just gone out the gate. I mean, it's everywhere. I get it everywhere. It's everyone's saying every town is like this in whatever country they're talking about. But it's just that there's no community now. And I think we need to really bring back that, I feel, and support. Mm.
I remember living when my kids were young, and we were living out in community where we lived in a farming community, and we used to look out for each other's kids. And if
Yes.
we saw one of them
Yeah.
doing something, we'd go, "Oi!" You know, there wasn't a "Don't you yell at my child" or "Don't you tell them what to do." There was none of that. It was like
No.
you see something, you address it,
Yeah.
and it's yeah. I just find it really difficult to keep my mouth shut sometimes because I was so used to being in that community.
Mm.
I did do it the other day actually. I was in the shop and this guy was yelling at his child, and I just went, "Oh, you have a very loud voice."
You said to him,
I did. I couldn't help myself, but at least I did it in a very quiet, gentle manner. I
Mm.
yes.
didn't go, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
I just went, "You have a very loud voice,"
Mm.
and he went, "Oh, he doesn't listen to me." And I went, "Well, sometimes they hear the whispers more than they hear the yelling."
Yes, yes,
Yeah, my
absolutely.
son tells me that. He tells me all the time, "Mum, when you yell, I can't hear you.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
Don't yell at me because I can't listen to what you're saying. It's scary. The fear
yeah,
takes over,
yeah,
and he can't
yeah.
hear
Well,
anything."
as a sound healer, hear somebody with that raised voice just really affects my whole insides.
Yeah, I can
yeah,
imagine.
Mm.
yeah.
So when with young people, their vibrations, it affects their vibrations on their in their bodies, and they do
Mm,
go into fear.
Yeah.
mm.
Mm. Shuts
And
them
I
down.
remember asking my daughter, my oldest one, why don't you just do what I'm asking you to do? She said, because you're not asking me, Mum, you're telling me.
Telling me.
And I thought, oh my goodness, I can't handle being told. It's been one of my things. And I think mainly in this era now that we've on the planet, our souls have really made a stand. Don't just be told. We have
Yeah.
to speak up, we have to stand up. And if we look at again these last 3 years or more, it's that we really needed to hold the line and stand up and speak up and all that. Well, that was what we were getting nudged to do as kids. But I remember that with my daughter, and I thought, my gosh, I need to start changing the way I word it.
Mm.
And we're in that phase again now where we're changing the language.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
language is outdated. There's so much now that we just it's not fitting. It's all just not fitting.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do
I've
remember
noticed that
when
too.
I
Like
first.
in conversations, you're trying to express yourself and talk about things with old language,
Yes.
not old language, but it is kind of old language. It is outdated now, but it's popular language. So when you're trying to get your point across, you're using words from that that point of understanding to the widest audience, and it's not adequate. It's not expressing really what we want to say, because all
Yeah.
of this stuff is changing and our feelings are all changing and our awareness is getting bigger and changing, and we need to be able to communicate in a way that expresses those things more
Mm.
specifically
Mm.
and
I,
more in a more kind of like I don't know, like a gentler way, maybe, you know,
mm.
um, instead of using the labels like we said earlier,
Mm.
have a way of expressing ourselves that gets the message across to people,
Yeah.
but isn't harsh, isn't kind of
Yes.
like that feeling of pointing the finger,
Mm.
Telling
that
them what to
energy.
do when we
Uh,
need to ask,
Yeah,
or to have a
yes.
more expanded way of doing
yeah,
things.
exactly.
Yeah, I do remember when I first started this journey, it was going, I wish somebody would write a dictionary for me because I don't understand the language.
Yes, oh my gosh, so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am finding now, so that's like 30 years ago, but I'm finding now that that language is permeating through everything,
Mm.
way more than when I started. Um, yeah, but yeah, a dictionary would have been really helpful back then. Probably really helpful now.
Yeah, if you find one, let me know because I need it.
Yes, and I think now with our Queen, moving on, I think there's a lot of big changes that'll happen in structure around the world, really, because it affected the world. But also, I mean, definitely here and around our countries for sure. In that hierarchical type of structure, I feel that's all going to really move. And as we knew, Diana tried, didn't she? She was really trying to do that in her, reign.
Almost like, when that old game Pick Up Sticks?
Yes.
Yes, it's like moving a stick and the whole thing collapses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenga, like, it's called, isn't it? Jenga?
Hey?
I think it's called Jenga, where you put
yes. Well, I think that's what's happening now. Sorry, yes, wrong game. Oh, I've been playing so many wrong games.
It's the game bypass.
But who knows? Maybe we'll end up being a republic now. Do you think?
Hey?
Do you think we might end up?
Yeah, there is things around that with our constitution. If we go into being a republic, and I'm not a full bottle on any of that, so I'm not going to even say anything about it, except that check what will happen with our constitution if we turn into a republic, and that goes for Australia and New Zealand. There's a whole list of stuff around that.
Yeah, I forgot you guys were in New Zealand. But
no, I'm in Australia.
Oh, yeah. I'm
That's right. But you were in New Zealand before.
Oh, yes, I was
over
there for 9 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Wonderful place to live. I loved it.
Yeah, so I think I don't know. I have this little feeling that it'll come up again. Like people are going to start talking about it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've already heard little whispers about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we will see.
Yeah, watch this space.
Watch this space. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what will happen. I don't know. All I know is a lot of the, with the Queen dying, she's taken a lot of that old energy, the old witchy energy, the old ritual energy that's being released off the planet, which is why even before we were told of her death, that we were starting to see some of that come out into the world. There's a lot that was being uncovered over the last, since COVID, really. Yeah. For all of the fear that it created in the world, it also woke up a lot of people. I was watching a comedy show on television last night, and because I've gone, where are our comedians? Where are our artists going? Saying it like, what the hell is happening? Well, anyways, last night they started. It was hilarious. Like how the virus will attack you if you're walking in the door of the restaurant, but the moment you sit down, you can't. So it's like, yay, we've come to a point where we can actually look at the comedy of errors that have gone on around the planet and start to laugh about it.
Yeah.
I do think it takes our creatives, our artists, our comedians, it needs those people to step up, because they're the ones, our musicians, to step up and say it as it is, because they're the voices that we hear.
Yeah.
There has been a lot that have spoken up though, and created the comedy through it too, which is good.
Well,
it's spreading. Yeah,
it is spreading. Thank goodness.
I can speak for my husband, well, not for him, but about him, because he's a musician. He's a singer in a band.
Yeah.
And during COVID and lockdown and everything, they were the first ones to lose their jobs
Yeah.
because all the entertainment venues closed down. And it was a second whammy for them because particularly in Sydney, because we'd had the lockout laws just a couple of years before that. So what was a thriving industry, a live music industry in Australia, in Sydney in particular, started to decline, and work became more and more scarce. And so for him, and because you're right, our artists, our musicians, our comedians, it's all about the voice, isn't it? It's all about communication. It's about how they get their messages across to people through songs, through comedy acts, through plays, movies, all of that stuff, which is amazing, because that style of communication, we all love it. We all want it. Like, we all listen to music. We all watch movies. And COVID kind of like cut the legs off of all of that, for a while. And I think what happened is they all saw it happening. They all kind of went, wow, like nobody ever thought that we would stop singing, and that we would stop dancing, and that we would stop music altogether, and we would stop plays and going out to theatre and all of that stuff. So it was like a bit of a shock. And they all found other work because they needed to survive. So they all kind of like went back, because, an artist, if you can make a living just by doing what you love to do through music or whatever, you've made it. If you can earn enough money singing in Sydney, you've made it as an artist. So all of that was taken away. And so they all had to find other work to be able to sustain themselves in that time.
So they lost their platform.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot.
So I think kind of like they all went back to their roots. In a way, and they're all coming out now. They're all emerging now out of that dark time in their lives with a renewed perspective.
That's the best thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think they found, like, because to be able to go back to what you love, like, it's been taken away from you for a while, and then you get to go back, things are opening up, people are going out again, people are starting to spend money again, and they're like, oh, I'm back in my happy place, and they're all so grateful to be there. They're all so grateful to be in the band again and to be making music again. And it's beautiful to see. It's really, really good to see.
It's great. No, it is. And I can feel that for myself, being able to, run groups again and be with the people. I mean, we are people. That's what we are. And, again, we come back to community, really. I mean, we're from community, and we love community.
Yeah.
And it was hard not being able to. I mean, I'm a hugger. So,
you mean you don't do this?
Oh, no way. I broke a few rules for sure.
I broke many rules. No.
No. Oh, yeah. That was difficult.
And what is that? And then sneeze into your, cough into your elbow.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
understood that.
Ridiculous.
Hello.
It was definitely a bit weird, wasn't it? It was all very, very weird. And luckily, we've just got out of our traffic light system over here now, so there's none of that. We can, and the kids don't have to wear masks at school. I'm so pleased for them. And a lot of the, shopkeepers, obviously, shop assistants and people, but healthcare and rest homes still have to.
Yeah.
But yes, breaking free finally. It's happening.
It's been a long time over there. Ridiculous.
Absolutely, it's been a bit hideous at times. We've got a lady here, Rihanna, and she says, so much has just made sense listening to your kōrero. I just asked this morning for some guidance on raising children. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh,
isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow. Yes, it's been a bit of a journey, and I think a lot of people too really in many ways, you know, even though they were made to sort of sit in stuff, a lot of people didn't know how to even deal with those emotions that were going through them. And even just watching, I don't ever watch the news anymore, but I did want to last night after this, you know, the traffic light all going, and so many of them on there saying they're still going to wear their masks. And I thought, oh my goodness, but you know, that's their thing. It's up to them if they want to do that. Now at least they have a choice, whereas before they sort of didn't. They felt they didn't anyway, those ones. But yeah, so I don't know. Hopefully more and more free themselves and breathe fresh air again, and you know, all that.
Yeah, I still see people wearing masks out in public, on public transport. And we don't have to.
No, it's fear, isn't it? That, you know, like I say, they don't know how to process those things and those emotions. So bless them, they'll do what they're going to do, aren't they?
Yeah, and that brings us back to our topic, which is the shadow, bypassing, spiritual bypassing, which is kind of the same thing, because it's bypassing the shadow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where that when I see people like that wearing the masks and stuff, it kind of like I go through this little thing in my head. It's like, oh, there's a mask over there, and then I kind of go into this, oh, I feel sorry for that person because they're still in fear. And then I'm like, oh, well, that's their choice, I have to respect it. Like I need to, that's that person's choice to wear their mask and continue down that road. But I think that's also like a bit of a form of them bypassing the truth, because they're just following, like they're thinking to themselves, if I just follow protocol, I'll be safe. And it's not taking responsibility to find another way to figure out, well, am I doing the right thing? Like asking the question of themselves, I'm doing what I'm told to do, but what I'm told to do, is that actually true? You know, and kind of like delving deeper.
But most people are not taught to do that, Claudia.
They're not.
No.
And
I wasn't.
It will have impacted the fear that they already hold in their bodies.
Absolutely.
You know, the trauma fear from childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going to school, and this has just popped into my mind, being in a classroom, whereas if you did anything out of line, they'd use a ruler on you.
Yep.
My grade 1 teacher used to throw dusters, and you know, didn't to indiscriminately hit anybody. So it was like she did.
That's when I'd be standing up and get sent to the principal's office. It was hypocritical to me.
Yeah, I was all of 6. I didn't know how to do that.
Yes.
Back then. Yeah. So it's like, how do we as a collective move fear out of the collective?
Yes.
You know, it's like we do our own inner work, but there is so much in the collective unconscious that needs to be shifted as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, like a family member of mine, towards the end of the pandemic, I think, because she had gone through a journey with cancer, and so she was very, very fearful of COVID, very fearful of catching it and everything. And she was getting pressured by some of her other family members to get inoculated. And I asked her, I said to her, is that what you want for yourself? Is that something that you want? Do you think that that's going to serve you? And she hadn't even asked herself that question. It didn't even cross her mind about what she wanted, because she was getting so much pressure and so many messages from the news and from her family and she didn't even stop to think, well, what do I want?
Exactly.
And it's so easily done, like taking us right back to the beginning of our conversation, where we don't ask ourselves, what is it that I want for myself? Because we're always taught to people please and to please everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I think asking people questions like that, like to bring their attention back to themselves, like, oh yeah, what is it that I want to do? Because how many times do you get asked in your life, what is it that you want?
Yeah.
It's not often.
Not often. No, I hardly ever get asked that question. I mean, I'm asking myself all the time now.
I do, me, but no, not anyone else. No.
Yeah. So I think, shifting, like allowing a person to just go, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Like asking them a question that piques their brain up.
And it's stuff that gets passed down. And as a classic thing, this is something that just stuck in my head, but it just popped in now again, is that, a story of this mum and grandmother who always cooked the turkey for Christmas, and she put it in the oven dish. And there was always the leg of the chicken was always hanging out. There was a bit of it, turkey. It was like the dish was too small for the turkey usually. And then mum passed on and the daughter took over the role of that tradition, and she used the same dish. And someone said to her, why are you using that dish? It's too small. She said, oh, because mum always did. And so instead of going, well, hang on a minute, that actually doesn't work very well, let's do something different, it was just traditional, passed on. And it's so bizarre to me why we just sometimes don't think, don't have our own thoughts. And they're so impacted by so many others, expectations and all of that sort of thing. We take all of that into consideration when we make decisions, even for ourselves.
And it overcomplicates it.
Totally.
When there's a simpler way, it just takes a little bit of less fear.
It takes consciousness.
Yeah.
If we're not conscious to ask a question, how are we ever going to ask a question?
Yeah. And so many different reasons why we might not. I remember from being humiliated through my childhood a lot. I was too scared to say anything in class, when I was younger. Once I grew up a wee bit, it was like, you can't shut me up. But I learned to strengthen myself and to bring myself into the actual equation and that question of what do I want? Well, not that. So then I'd speak up. But yeah, it's I just didn't want to be humiliated a lot of the time. I wouldn't even answer a question if the teacher asked me in school, when I was younger, because I was too scared that I might get it wrong and then the kids would laugh at me, so it's like all that fear is just shocking. Really is. It hindered my learning, that's for sure.
Or just the knowledge that your presence on this earth is enough. That we don't have to be productive to be worthy. We don't have to be this to be worthy. But just being here is enough of being worthy of what life has to offer. And that your presence and your energy being included in the community, in your family, whatever it is enough. Like you have an influence just by being there and being yourself. And that's enough.
I am enough
of a contribution in life.
Exactly.
And that was a huge one for me to overcome, is that I had to always be a productive member of the family, or I always had to contribute something to be considered lovable.
Yes. Yeah.
And unraveling that and realizing, no, well, I'm just myself, and I'm a contributor just by being there, by
Mm.
having my energy and giving my attention and myself to the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And learning to have choice. You know, I didn't know I had choice a lot of the time. We're told what to do. That's it. And, you know, like we're going back on that story, it's like we have choice. And life is a series of choices. That's all it is, really.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, ladies, this has been wonderful. Again, thank you so, so much. I think we'll leave on that note of bringing awareness to choice, really, that, you know, we have the choice, we can make a choice. And I know so many people said I, you know, had to do that because I didn't have any choice. And, you know, they felt pressured and felt like there was no other choice. But as life goes on, we realize a lot of the time we actually did have a choice there, and this is the choice I made, even though it might have felt like it wasn't my choice. But yeah, it's out of it, isn't it? But it's a beautiful world, even with all this turmoil going on. There is so much goodness going on, and so many kind people and beautiful hearts. And, you know, I see it every day. And I'm, looking at what I can do about that, bringing it more into people's face, actually.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And if you can't find it in people, you'll find it in nature.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
If it all gets too much, go for a walk.
Yeah. Yes. That's been the saviour for many, I think, throughout this time, isn't it? As we were able to get outside and spend some time with her.
Yeah. And of course, New Zealand has the best of nature.
Yeah.
I have to agree. Well, thank you, lovelies. It was really beautiful, and I loved spending and sharing time with you. And thank you to all the viewers and everybody who has chimed in and made little comments here. We love that you join us, and we love that you join the conversation too. And so keep an eye out for the next fortnight. We'll have another Love Speaks. And until then, take great care. Lots and lots of love to you all.
Yeah.
Bye.